everyone, welcome back. It's day 25 of the 28-day Get Hired Challenge. I'm Melissa Miller, and today is our second day digging into imposter syndrome. Now we're talking about how you can overcome imposter syndrome. All right, everybody, it's day 25 of the 28-day Get Hired Challenge. I'm Melissa Miller, and we are digging into overcoming imposter syndrome. So yesterday we talked about what imposter syndrome is and some of the causes. If you didn't check out that video yet, pause this one, go back and watch it, because we're going to talk about those causes and how some of these strategies to avoid it are related to those causes. So let's dig in. So we talked about imposter syndrome and how damaging it can be to your career. So what are some things we can do to avoid feeling imposter syndrome? Well, remember yesterday I talked about the comparison to others and how that was a cause. So one of the first things you can do is avoid those comparisons by avoiding competition. Now, I know that sounds easier said than done, right? Like, well, it's great that I say that, but my mind always goes to comparing myself to other people and where do I stand in regard to them? I get that, and that is always a natural tendency. But what you can control is how you put yourself into certain situations that might lead to competition. For instance, if you decide that you're going to take on doing a CTF. Remember, we talked about that a couple weeks back now, doing CTFs, the capture the flags. And some of those can get pretty competitive. So those might not be the ones you want to go to. Or you might want to work with a team. But even there, be careful, because working with a team, sometimes you might even start to look at your teammates and compare yourself. So instead, look for those competitions or those challenges that maybe aren't even a competition, or where you're simply competing against yourself. Remember, in a previous episode, we talked about those challenge websites like Try Hack Me and Hack the Box and some of the others. Maybe just look at that and do those things where it's not necessarily about you. I know they do sometimes have leaderboards, but just focus on you. And that brings us to our second strategy. Focusing on you means set goals for yourself and define what success means for you. Because what this is going to do is this going to take you out of that mode of looking at other people. The reason we compare ourselves, the reason that's a natural tendency, is we're trying to judge our own success. We're trying to judge our own progress. And so we look at those around us and we say, well, they're doing this, this, and this, and I'm not doing X, Y, Z, so clearly I'm not doing enough. I'm so far away from where I want to be. I'm just not doing it. That's where that gets so screwed up. Instead, set your goals. What are your goals? And try to, again, easier said than done probably, but keep them realistic. What can you realistically achieve? Work with your mentor to decide what are realistic goals and what does success look like. And success should never be, well, I want to be doing what this person over there is doing, or I want to have as many, social media followers as somebody, or whatever. Get all that out of your head. What means success for you? Because that's what's going to be most important, and that gets you out of that mode of comparing yourself to others. Now, one thing you can do is turn to your colleagues and peers. Ask them, people that you trust, people who you know will give you an honest opinion, but also, they're not going to sugarcoat it, but at the same time, they're not going to be overly critical, right? Because there is that tendency. If you just talk to people in the industry, you put it out, try it, put it out on social media sometime and say, hey, I did this thing. What do you think of it? And see how many people tell you that it's awful or, it wasn't worth the time or whatever. So don't do that. I don't know why people behave that way, but they do. So find people you trust, but then count on them to be objective. If you're clear with somebody, hey, I want your objective opinion. Where am I at? How should I be doing this differently? Am I making good progress? What about this achievement? Is it worthwhile? Did I do something good here? Rely on your colleagues and peers. They can help you. They can even help you with that goal setting. They can help you figure out what success really looks like. And when they give you a compliment, accept it. I will be honest with you, I'm one of the worst people when it comes to accepting compliments. I'm terrible at it. I don't know how to do it. I take it and I belittle it and I downplay it and I diminish it, right? Because I just can't believe that and that comes from a lot of places. It's imposter syndrome. It's also just, a humility that was instilled in me, or a sense of humility that was instilled in me, just the way I was raised. Doesn't make it right. So take that feedback for what it's worth and use it. Accept it when it's there. Another thing you can do, and this is a terrific tool, and I kind of speak from experience, be a resource to others. How can you help other people? Now, to do this requires you to get over some of your imposter syndrome before you can even start, right? Because you have to now accept that you have something to give. But let me put it to you this way. Everybody has something they can give. Everybody has valuable experience, valuable knowledge, something that will be of value to someone else. I've said it every day. The day that I stop learning, get me out of this industry. I can learn something from anybody and everybody. It could be someone who's brand new to their career. It could be somebody who's been doing this for 30 years. They both bring things for me to learn from. So you have something to give. So, how can you be a resource to others? Look for opportunities. It could be just sharing your experience as a newcomer to cybersecurity. That might help somebody who's trying to start their career. What worked for you? What didn't? What experiences did you run into? Were there things you wish you had done differently? All of that is valuable information. Could you speak at conferences? Maybe. Can you speak at conferences as a newbie who hasn't been in the industry very long? You better believe it. You have knowledge. I don't care how basic and simple it feels to you. Not every conference talk needs to be some breaking 0-day vulnerability. Conference talks, we need people talking about core concepts. Those things that feel like they're basic. Because there's people coming along after you who don't know those things and have to learn them too. And then finally, celebrate your achievements. Back to when I was talking about you relying on your colleagues and peers. When somebody tells you did something great, acknowledge it. Celebrate it. Look back on the things you've done and list them out. Try to make a list. Try to make the longest list you possibly can. It's a private list. You don't have to worry. You're not bragging to anybody. Okay? But make yourself a list of all of the cool things that you've accomplished, things that you've been proud of or you thought were really neat. Make that list. Lay it out there. And then go to one of your colleagues or your peers and ask them what they think of those accomplishments. And listen to what they say. And when they tell you it's good, when they tell you that it's impressive, when they tell you, wow, that's really cool, I wish I could have done that, take those compliments for what they're worth. That's a sign that you did something valuable. So, imposter syndrome is a terrible animal. It messes people up every day. I said yesterday, it's responsible for killing people's careers. But you can get over it. It may never go away completely. You may always be dealing with it. But looking at yourself objectively, listening to others when they talk about you objectively, avoiding comparing yourself to other people, those are the things that are going to help you break through imposter syndrome. All right, so I want to hear from you in the comments. What's one tool I gave you today that you think you're going to be able to use that will help you get over imposter syndrome? Let me know down below, and I will randomly pick one that's going to win a free book. And all of you, for a few more days yet, through the end of the month, you can still get 35% off all of the titles at Manning Publications. Go to manning.com, enter that discount code, go to that short link. It's also down below in the show description. Or you can just use that QR code. And keep coming back. We have just a few more days, but I promise you, we still have valuable information to cover. So keep coming back, and I'm going to keep trying as hard as I can to help you get that career started in cybersecurity because we need you here. We want you here. So keep coming back. I'll see you tomorrow.